Hi everyone, and welcome to the PlanDoc Builder overview. My name is Brett, and I'm a product trainer here at Xywave, and today I'll be giving you a brief walkthrough of PlanDoc Builder and discussing how it can help your clients stay in compliance with current legal requirements. You may be thinking, why PlanDoc Builder? Well, PlanDoc Builder helps your clients comply with the Department of Labor requirement that every health and welfare plan, regardless of size, needs to have a plan document in place and distribute a summary plan description, also known as an SPD, to their employees. With PlanDoc Builder, you can produce plan documents, SPDs, and summaries of benefits and coverage, also known as SBCs for self-insured plans. So plan documents and SPDs have always been required under the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, also known as ERISA, but the Department of Labor has recently increased its focus on enforcing that requirement. So every plan must have the documents and they must meet ERISA standards. And in most cases, carrier certificates will not meet ERISA's requirements for plan documents and SPDs. So in a recent survey at Xywave here, we found out that 83% of partners stated their clients would value support in preparing plan documents and SPDs. We need to ensure, as you see on the slide, that they won't fail that audit. Now, with PlanDoc Builder, you can pull these resources together, these documents, in just a fraction of the time it might take otherwise, and help your clients satisfy those DOL requests in the event of a compliance audit. Also note, PlanDoc Builder has been endorsed by NAHU and UBA as the preferred solution for their members to help clients create these required documents. Now I'm going to jump right into the product. I'm going to be sharing my screen to do that because PlanDoc Builder is web-based, so you will have 24/7 access to the website. So you'll see that pull up momentarily on our screen, and we are going to start in Xywave Home. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Xywave Home, you can access it through home.xywave.com, which you'll see here in my URL bar at the top. And this is a starting spot to access all of your Xywave resources. So not only does this tool give you access to the Launchpad here at the top, which has all of your products, PlanDoc Builder included, but it also gives you different industry or thought leadership articles, tips and tricks for getting the most out of your Xywave tools, other ways that you can connect with us and with the industry. This is a fantastic resource. For now, we're going to start by clicking on PlanDoc Builder, but I would definitely encourage you to explore Xywave Home in detail later. Now, when I click on that button for PlanDoc Builder, I am brought to a separate PlanDoc Builder login screen. Now, what I'd like to mention here is you do have a separate username and password for PlanDoc Builder than you do for any other Xywave products that you may have. Your username, as you can see, will be your email address, and you will have the option when you get set up as a user to set a password. So from here, I'm going to click Login to access the tool. And today, we are going to walk through how to create a combined plan document and SPD. As I mentioned, every health plan is required to have a plan document and an SPD. They're separate documents. However, these documents are often combined into one document to save time and create efficiency. So while PlanDoc Builder does include some options for separate documents, that combined plan document and SPD is the standard and recommended approach. There are two options for these combined documents in PlanDoc Builder. We have fully insured, or self-funded. Now, the self-funded document includes an extensive medical benefits section, but otherwise, both options are fairly similar. And today, I'm going to walk through how to create a fully insured, combined plan document and SPD. What we're looking at here is the home page, also known as the SPI Management tab, which you'll see indicated and selected up here on the top left. So this is the SPI Management tab. SPI stands for Summary Plan Information. And we came up with that term. We are combining the concept of a summary plan description and a plan document. We're putting them together in the SPI term. So just to avoid any future confusion, that is the term that rolls up that combined document. You'll see the options that you have here. You have new SPI, which we'll look at in a moment. You have new SBC, if you need to create a summary of benefits and coverage. Now, if I were to click on New SPI, that would launch that piece where I could combine that resource in that plan document and the summary plan description. But before I get started, I may want to start with a couple other menu items that you'll see, such as employers or carriers. If I click employers, this is where I can add in the employers that I work with. I can add in their name and the EIN, also known as the employer identification number, which you'll see listed here. All I would have to do is click Add Employer. I would add in their name and their identification number. You'll notice the red squiggly lines go away, meaning I have now successfully added in the required fields, and all I would have to do is hit Save. For now, I'm going to cancel out because I'm going to use the ABC company that I already have within the system. And notice employers can be edited or deleted as well. Now I can do the same for carriers. I can add them in ahead of time, or you can add them in while you're actually creating the document, which I will be showing you. So when I'm all done adding in that employer, I'm going to click on New SPI on the top left-hand side. And this is going to begin the setup of that summary plan information, which again is that combined plan document and SPD. So this is going to start the questionnaire in a couple of moments that will be used to generate the documents, the combined document in our case. We have plan type on the top left. You'll notice this drop down on the right here allows me to choose self-insured or fully insured. As I mentioned, I'll be doing fully insured today. The employer is one that I just added, and you'll see it's a required field. I'm going to use that drop down to choose ABC Company. Now notice there is a Create Employer button on the right as well if you need to add one in at this stage. The plan name is going to fill in with the employer name, and then it's going to fill in this case, with Health and Welfare Benefit Plan. If I choose to change that plan name, I can do so here within this field. I also have the effective date and the original effective date fields. So what I want to mention about these fields is the effective date is going to be used with that new plan document in SPD that you are creating. You do not need to use the original effective date field. It is optional. And if this is a brand new plan, you would not use that field. You would only use this original effective date field if you are working with an existing plan and you want the plan document in SPD to reflect the original date of the plan here, and then the amended or restated date in that effective date field. Again, that original effective date field is not required. So since this is a new plan, I'm going to enter in 1/1 of 2016 for my example today in the effective date field. And you can type that in or use this calendar icon on the right-hand side. All right, so that is what we're going to enter into this field right here. Now, right below this, we have the option to include any of these possible benefits. So we are creating a combined plan document in SPD that's going to incorporate multiple benefits. So we'll want to select all the benefits available for employees of the company, to employees of this company. I'm going to check all of the ones that you see there. I'm going to leave those checked off. And you'll notice right at the bottom, we have a couple other options. To create SPDs or an SPD only for one of these options, medical and prescription drug, vision or dental, or the premium only plan or a POP plan for any of these that are listed here. So I'm not going to utilize these today, but I want you to know that these are here for you in the future if you need them. So today I'm going to assume that we're creating that combined plan document in SPD for all the benefits that are checked off. I'm going to leave them checked off, and I'm going to hit Save on the bottom right to continue. This will launch my questionnaire automatically, and all the answers that are required for this questionnaire should be fairly straightforward. And as you'll see in these sections, it's looking for company information, it's looking for plan information right here in this first section. You'll want to make sure that you fill out these answers as completely as possible, and what's nice is you can edit them later if you need to. So starting with company and plan information, I could go through, I could enter in information regarding the plan sponsor. I would go through and check off the address and name and telephone number if it's the same as the plan sponsor when I'm looking for the plan administrator information. I'm going to make sure the plan year is correct. You'll also see the plan number. It's about halfway down the page. So anything that's required will be red, which you'll see here is the plan number. I'm going to enter 501. A number in the 500 series is fairly common for that number. And at the very bottom, you'll see a section for all the benefits that will be included in the plan. So when I click this plus sign for medical, for example, I now am given an option in this pop-up box to add in the medical insurance. I can choose the type of plan. I'll choose PPO. I can enter the policy or group number if I have it. I have the start of the policy year coverage effective date, which I'll assume and leave. And then I also have the populate from an existing carrier button. So when I click this button, I'm allowed to choose the carrier from my list of carriers that I have in the database. So maybe I already filled one in that carrier section. I can go to one of these. I'll choose ABC Carrier today and click OK, and that will populate that information. Now what's nice is we have a claims administrator section, which I can check or not to say if it is the same as the insurer that is listed on the left-hand side. So you can add multiple carriers under each benefit line. What's nice is you'll also notice these little blue question marks. So this is going to be something that can indicate information that you may have a question on. So as this says, for the start of policy year / effective date of coverage, you can use this when the benefit has a policy year that is different from the plan's overall plan year. Again, I'm assuming that this PPO has the 1/1 effective date I already used, so I don't need that separate area to be filled in. So I can click Save on this box, and now you'll notice I have that carrier listed here, and it is the insurer / claims administrator. Now, I would continue to add them in for different types. I would go through for dental, vision, etc. I'm not going to spend time doing that at this moment, but that is what you would do in this section for all of those different types of benefits that are being included. At the very bottom, you'll see a section, if a separate SPD is being issued for a plan benefit program not included in the SPD that you would like to reference, you would be referencing them here. For example, maybe there's a separate document for a healthcare flexible spending account or an FSA. You can include that information at the bottom. As I work through this questionnaire, I can save things at any step in the process by clicking Save. And this SPD and PlanDoc can actually also save automatically every 2 minutes. So you don't even have to worry about saving if you're going to be working on this for a substantial period of time. I could also save and close this if I'm not quite ready to generate it or if I'm not quite ready to continue through the questionnaire. What's also nice is I have these section previews at the bottom. When I click on that, it's going to generate a pop-up that is going to let me look at this section. So I'll see the cover page starting to form, the introduction, the plan overview. And this is going to bring in that information, such as the plan administrator, the plan year, again, the type of plan with the plan number and the identification, and all of that is going to start to form. This is all just based off the initial checkboxes and information that we entered in. So it's all working for you behind the scenes. Now, I'm going to hit Next on the bottom right-hand side. That'll move me to the next step in the questionnaire. And I'm going to collapse these steps as I go so we can be clear which step I'm looking at. And this is step 2, eligibility information. You'll also notice on the very top right, as I go through my questionnaire, I'm going to see a percentage bar that's being filled. So with everything I'm not entering today, I will very unlikely get to that 100%, but you'll see this bar does grow every time you're going through these steps and entering information. So this section that I'm on now discusses eligibility requirements for the company plan. You're going to fill out answers regarding hours per week, part-time employment, declining coverage. And again, all of these are either checkboxes or radio buttons or small data entry fields. That's what makes the step-by-step wizard so easy for you to fill out. So I'll start here. How many hours per week must full-time employees work to be eligible? I'm going to say 30 for today's example. I'm going to skip down to this one. Do rehired employees need to satisfy the same waiting period as new employees? I'm going to say no if reemployed within 30. And now I get to say months or days. I'm going to choose 30 days. Or I could also say 1 month would be another way to put it. And again, you'll have these blue question marks throughout the pages that you can look at to get further information. And I can go ahead and hit next on the bottom. This now moves me into employee contributions and termination. This is going over the employee contributions and terms required for the plan termination. And again, what we're going through is entering in and selecting options that pertain. What's nice is if you need to write in your own language for when coverage ends on the top left, you can check those boxes and do so. For now, I'm just going to hit all here for which mid-year election changes are recognized by the plan. And again, you'll see as we go through the section preview what these sections look like and how much text is filled in just by you clicking simple boxes, radio buttons, or filling in particular pieces of text. Now we're on your healthcare coverage. So on this step, you're going to select all the benefits that are included in the plan. And if we are indicating that a certain kind of benefit is included, the tool is going to generate the appropriate language for the SPD. So I'll check off medical/prescription drug, dental, and vision. You'll notice dental opened up this separate option here. So for medical, I'm going to choose PPO, and I'll do the same for dental for consistency. So those boxes are checked, and I really like looking at this section because you can see all the text that fills in for these types of coverage. So you'll see DPPO is called out separately here, so that's nice, just based off that checkbox that we checked off. And it's going to go through that information. Vision's pretty standard, so we don't have a separate box or a separate breakout for vision. Now we're looking at HRA. So if an employer has a health reimbursement arrangement or HRA to reimburse its employees' out-of-pocket health expenses, you can include that information here in the same plan document and SPD. So this is where you would include information about the HRA benefit in the same, such as information on how the HRA funds may be used or what may happen to unused amounts at the end of the coverage period. So I'm going to check a couple things here so you can see what this looks like. Now the next section, life insurance and accidental death and dismemberment, so AD&D, you would be checking boxes of what applies. Now if I check the box for this group term life insurance coverage, checking off basic, you'll notice then supplemental offers itself as an option. Same thing for AD&D. You'll see that pops open. So some of these have additional fields that will pop open based on the answer that you select. So I'm going to hit next. We will look at the disability. So you do the same for disability. So this one, you'll have a lot of other options that pop open. So for example, when I check off short-term disability benefits, I'll have all of this that I'll want to fill in about those short-term disability benefits. The next one down is the Employee Assistance Program. You're going to select options that match for their Employee Assistance Program. Again, you'll see this right here. And we also have our health savings account. So if an HSA is included in the plan, you would check that box to include that language. And then you'll see with that section preview what that health savings account document will actually look like. So it's a nice little section. And all of this entire section right here, this is 3 pages just because you checked that box. So it's really helpful. And then the next section down, we're looking at HIPAA and COBRA notices. Now, in this section, you have the option to include a HIPAA privacy notice or a COBRA notice with your SPD. And these documents are not required to be included, but some employers find it more convenient to send them together with that SPD. in Plan Document rather than separately. So if you'd prefer these documents to be included, all you'd have to do is check the box to include that, and you'll see a little pop-up that shows up to select a file, in which case you would click this little folder icon to find that file. So I'm going to find that file for us here. Give me just a moment, and I will show you what an example upload is going to look like. All right, so I found that file. I'm going to choose the Model Cobra notice and hit Open. You'll notice that fills in this whole bar with the file name, and then all I have to do is hit Upload with the paperclip on the right, and it's going to upload my Cobra notice. So now I have that included, and that'll show up in the appendix of our document. And I'm going to skip the HIPAA privacy practice for today, the notice. So I'll hit Next. Now we're looking at the ERISA options here. Now this is interesting. So if your plan is not subject to ERISA, you can use these boxes to strike out or eliminate language from that SPD. There are going to be folks that do like to use this just to build the documents, say for a church plan as one example, that just like to use the software, but want us to also remove that ERISA subjected language. So this is going to be where you can remove that text if you need to. So I'll just check these off just so we can see what that looks like. But that is something that is another great advantage. If you are working with non-ERISA plans, you can still use PlanDoc Builder. All right, now we are getting to the last step here. We can hit Next. And we have the optional attachment upload. This is one other option that we have to upload any documents that we may want to include. Again, I do not recommend adding the carrier certificate here, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. So you wouldn't add the carrier certificate directly into the document, but that is going to be required. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit Save just to be on the safe side. And then I'm going to generate this if I feel like I am ready to download this document. I'll hit Generate SPD at the very bottom of the screen. It's going to go through a series of 5 check marks. You'll notice the last 2 are going to generate the Word document and the PDF. Now, it says document has been successfully generated. I can download Word or PDF, and in whichever one I choose, I can get the other one later as well, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to choose the Word document for right now, just because what we tend to find is Word documents are more popular because you can edit them much easier. And I'll bring that over to my screen. So these are about 35 pages on average, which is what you'll probably see on mine. You'll notice the cover page here has the title exactly as we had it before, and it's going to list what coverages are included with the effective date. Now, we've got the introduction. You'll see this is filled in based on some of the information that I filled in within the questionnaire. The table of contents is built based on what I went through in the questionnaire, in the order of that questionnaire. Got the plan overview. I'm just going to go through this so you can see some of these pages as this is built. Your healthcare coverage with those 3 that we chose, medical, dental, and vision. The HRA section. AD&D. Disability. The EAP or Employee Assistance Program, the HSA because I chose to include that. Administrative information, and again, where you'll see the plan number and the employee identification number. And notice I just put myself in as the plan administrator, but you would obviously be using the proper administrator. And as we get toward the bottom, you will also see your HIPAA rights, COBRA continuation coverage rights, and you'll also see a nice little definition section, which I always like to point out. There's some key definitions here that are included in the very end of the resource. Of course, we have our adoption of the plan page, which would need to be signed and dated. And this is page 33, probably because I removed some of the ERISA language, so it became a little bit shorter. And then we also have the appendices at the end. So Appendix A is always going to be your insurers or carriers, administrators. And then Appendix B is where you have any attachments. So this is my COBRA notice attachment right here. So this is what a document is going to look like on average when you produce that combined plan document and SPD. Again, remember, both documents are required, but we've combined them into a single document. Now, I'm going to close this document out because there are some other features that I want to show you within PlanDoc Builder. As I mentioned, you do not want to incorporate the carrier certificate directly into the SPD. It's not recommended from the law's perspective, but it is going to be something that you need to provide to meet the SPD requirements. So I just want to reiterate that. Now, we have that plan document in SPD in just a fraction of the time it would take to build this document from scratch using PlanDoc Builder. There are going to be a couple other features, and then I am going to end on that knowledge base just to make sure that we get some exposure to our common questions and answers and things that you may need assistance with as you are building these documents. So I'm going to start on that SPI Management tab again. I'm going to click on that. And you'll notice I have this sorted by the created date. That should be the default, but you can obviously change how you sort this page. When I click on the document that I just generated, you'll notice on the right I have what we call the document list. And this is going to list every document that was generated from that SPI or Summary of Plan Information questionnaire. So notice now I can go back and get the PDF or the Word version of any document that I have created. And what I usually like to point out is as I scroll through these, you'll notice there are some that have multiple, with either multiple dates or maybe even multiple on the same date. And that is going to be really important for you to see because with these, you'll notice you can look at ones that have certain dates. So if there was certain language that you liked in a previous iteration or something you accidentally removed in the newest one that you created, you can always go back to that historical one from months past and pull that same language. So anytime you hit Generate SPD, that will auto-generate that and save that iteration for you to look at in the document list on the right. We talked about adding employers and carriers. We also want to talk about users. You can always go to your own profile. And if you ever want to make changes to anything, including changing your password, you can do that here. And you can go to users and then just click on users. Now, it's very important for you to be thinking about if you'll want to add users from your agency to PlanDoc Builder. Because if you do want to do that, they will then have the ability to create documents. So if you have other Xywave tools, remember you do still need to have your agency users set up separately here in PlanDoc Builder, but you can always access PlanDoc Builder from Xywave Home or home.xywave.com. And if you need assistance with adding users to PlanDoc Builder, please contact our partner support team, and I will make sure that you have their phone number and email at the end of this training. So to add or edit a user, all you have to do is, again, go to Users, Users, and then I'm going to click Add User on the top. Now, I tend to actually go for the second one that's going to be listed here. So I always start with User Group, and I do that for a distinct reason. When I go to User Group, I can choose one of two options, Employer Users or Client Users. I'm going to start with Employer Users. And employer users are think of them as the employers you are working with. And you may also call them your clients. So I want to clarify this language. So when we see employer users, think of the employers that you are working with. You can select an employer from the list, like ABC Company. And you can set somebody up with access. So when I go through here, I can set up Steve Jones with access. Again, his email is going to be his username, and I can either generate a password or he can pick his own password. And what this is going to give us the ability to do is give that client or employer the ability to log in directly to PlanDoc Builder and also either view or edit these documents. So I can choose to make him read only if I want to. And what that means is Steve can still log in. And when Steve logs in, he's able to, what he's able to do there is he is able to view the documents that I've created for his company, for him, for ABC Company, but he cannot make any changes. So he can log in and he can see that SPI Management tab with his documents, but he can only view those resources. If I were to uncheck this box, he would also be able to edit those. So if you want those employers that you work with to edit their documents as well and to have some of that ability, uncheck that box and you can go through that process to get him set up. Again, I could put in a password like password 1. He can change the password when he logs in, so it doesn't matter what it is. Or I could hit generate and that would auto-generate something random for him. And on this next tab, I'm going to fill out his information. I would fill out any information that we need for him, and then I would be able to hit finish on the bottom. And that is going to send that email to Steve with his username, letting him know that's his email, and the password that either I generated automatically or randomly, or the password that I set, like password 1. And he can log in at any time. But his access to either edit or view those documents depends on that read-only box. Now, maybe I'm just going to set up a coworker with access. And this is through the client users dropdown. You'll notice that option above it for the employer went away. So now I have client users. This is going to be a coworker that I would be setting up here with the email and the password. So that is how you can set up users that are either your coworkers, which are client users, or the employer users, which are the employers that you work with. In terms of the documents, you also have the ability to make amendments to documents. There's two primary types of amendments. We have regulatory amendments, which result from a change in the official federal laws or rules that impact ERISA plan documents and SPDs, and those are included with the product. For most regulatory amendments, we actually create sample plan amendments or summaries of material modifications, SMMs, that you can use to make updates for your clients. And those are actually found in the knowledge base, which I'll show you in just a couple moments, under the downloads section. Also, when there's a regulatory amendment, we do update the PlanDoc Builder questionnaire to include the updated language as applicable. Previously generated plan document and SPDs, however, will not be automatically updated. So that's why you'll need to go into that knowledge base and pull that, that sample plan amendment for that regulatory change. The other type of amendment is a benefit amendment. That would be in the event of an employer group changing a plan provision or carrier. All you would have to do is select the SPI, and you'll notice there's an amending your plan button at the bottom. Also note the clone button if you want to make a copy. Open, if you click on open, will open up your questionnaire. And modify will give you the option to edit the initial information that we entered in. But for now, I'm going to select this and click amending your plan in SPD. And again, this is for a benefit amendment. So with this, I also have the ability to review the SPD and SMM process if I want some additional information on how this works. And if I want information on the types of amendments, I can click the little question mark, and I'll see information on if I need full, simple, or combined. So that little blue tip question mark can help you, again, as you go through any step of this product. So I'm going to do full for today. I'm going to fill out some of this basic information, starting with the effective date. So I will do 7/1 of 2016. I'll say halfway through this plan year, we have a change. I can put the name in here as well, so like John Smith. And then the amendment for the amendment section that I'm going to be looking at. So the section name, I'm going to put your eligibility. So I'm going to be changing the year eligibility section. I need to look at the document that I created originally to see the page number that it's on. And then it looks like it's on page 6 of my document. Now, the exact language that's being amended, I'm going to copy and paste that from my document on my other screen here and paste that in. So I'm changing what the eligibility is deemed for a full-time active employee. Notice it says 30 weeks. I'm going to change that to 25. So I'm making a very, very small amendment so you can see what this looks like. So it's going to go from 30 to 25. Now, if I needed to add additional amendments, I could do so at the bottom. What's nice is I can generate this amendment before I even save it to see how it looks. So I can see what this looks like. So I'll pull this over here so we can see the ABC Company Health and Welfare Benefit Plan Update, the summary of material modification with the effective date of 7/1 of 16. And again, the original date of this document is 1/1 of 16. So you'll see at the bottom the section that's being changed on which page number is updated with this original text being revised to this new text right below it. So this is a wonderful feature because you don't have to redo that full SPD and plan document every single time an employer group makes a change. Also, if you need assistance with this and completing the amendment, again, please contact our partner support team. So I'll close this here, and I can save that in the tool. And now I have the benefit amendment listed here as a sub-item under my normal document here. On the right, you'll notice it says amendment, and I can still download that separately. A couple other really useful features as we go through this. Notice there is this Get Checklist button right here. When I hit Get Checklist, I can download a checklist for the SPD as either a PDF or Word document for self-insured or fully insured. I will do fully insured checklist in the Word doc format so we can see what we would have looked at today for this. I'll open this up here for me on my monitor so we can take a look at this checklist. So this is a way for you to fill in information before you go into PlanDoc Builder to really prepare and organize yourself for everything that you'll need to fill this out. You can print this off also and give this to a client to review. Have them fill this out. And again, you can set them up as users right within the site so they don't necessarily have to fill this out. But this could be beneficial in any case, either for you to fill out or for them to fill out, and dependent on whether or not you're going to be giving them access to login. So just to review what you need to complete for some of these individual sections. You can also go in and see how often users are creating plan documents under the statistics button at the top. So I'm going to use all employers just for our example today, and I'll leave this as the regular defaulted month that pulls in, and I'm going to hit generate. And this is going to generate an Excel spreadsheet of the last month for all of the people that are creating these resources. So this gives me a really fantastic view where you can analyze, and again, you can choose the different employers and who is generating these resources. So the client name will be your agency, and then you'll see the employer name with the SPI name, the created date, who it was created by, and the SPD count. So how many times did they hit generate for that SPD? So in this case, I hit it 4 times, it looks like, with that specific SPI that I was working with. So this is the statistics that we can run. Now, the last major section of PlanDoc Builder is the knowledge base. So I always save the most exciting piece for last. When I click on the knowledge base, this is going to bring up a very, very thorough section that is full of everything you would need or want to know about plan documents. This is a searchable database of over 220 questions and answers, and we update it very frequently. And that's nice because we have the recent development section right on the top. Now you can click the little plus sign to expand this section, and that will give you the answer to that question. So you're going to see lots of topics of importance like document description, compliance issues, plan design issues, notices, etc. down this whole page. Thinking about ERISA or extended benefits. And as we go down here, you'll notice there is this document section or this download section at the very bottom if I click that little plus sign. And now I have a full section full of downloads. So I'll come back to that in just a moment. I do want to show you the search feature in action here. So if I were to search for wrap plan and hit the little magnifying glass or enter on my keyboard, every single resource or every single question and answer that has the word wrap plan, the phrase wrap plan in it, will open up. So I can go through and look at every single one of these. Maybe I'm just looking at what is a wrap plan, a wrap document. But every single one is going to open up for me and expand. So I don't have to worry about finding them all. It found them for me, made them really obvious with the yellow highlighting. Now, I can select this text in here. I believe this may be an Internet Explorer feature specifically, but I can copy this text. I can select this, right-click and copy it, and I can put this directly in an email and answer the person's question that was asking, how would you define a wrap plan or wrap document? So I love looking at this knowledge base. Now, going back to that download section at the bottom, if I click that plus sign, you're going to find a ton of valuable resources here. First of all, there's those amendments that we were just talking about. So if I were to download one of these amendments, and I will pull this open as it opens up, this is going to download that amendment for me. So I can take a look at it, and this is, again, that legal amendment. This is not going to be the same as that benefit or plan amendment. This is that regulatory amendment. So you may need this if you do have a document that was created before that that gets updated. So you may need to go back in and change your document to update it. We also have other resources in here, such as different notices, and such as this sample broker letter to clients. So when I look at this is going to be really important because a lot of employers, particularly smaller ones, don't even know that SPDs are required. So you can use this document in the knowledge base to introduce this concept. So that's where this introductory letter is really going to be a powerful resource. You can use this as a template. You would be filling in and changing the text that's on here, including inserting a conclusion, but you're going to see that this gives you the opportunity to start with something. You're starting with a base here. And you're going to use this letter and those disclaimers that we have to really deliver this and let them know with SPDs that we're going to ensure that employers know that that they are compliant with ERISA, that they are providing the correct information for completing those documents, and ultimately letting them know that all of this is their responsibility. They have to know about these legal requirements. And another section that people tend to use, and again, there's these disclaimers here and letters, but people are really, really interested in these combining document resources. So if you had multiple plans, and some of them were fully insured and some of them were self-insured, you can combine them into a larger document. Now, what this does require you to do is it does require you to pull open this combining documents resource. This is going to instruct you to create documents for both fully insured and self-funded benefits. And so you're going to start with both types, and then you're going to combine them in the Microsoft Word format. And it's going to tell you what section, what required changes and associated text needs to be updated or removed or added. So it's very straightforward and easy to follow. You're starting with two separate documents, and you're going to be going through and filling out these and combining these together. So it's a very powerful option that you'll have within this tool. So that is the knowledge base. I strongly encourage you to play around within this section, making sure that you are searching for answers. Everything here should be your first line of defense for any questions that you have. It's so simple. It's straightforward. It's built right into the product for those immediate answers. So play with this. Really look for anything that you could possibly need, and I'm sure we have something in here that will help you answer that question. All right, and that does conclude, for the most part, our session for today. I just want to review again. PlanDoc Builder will help you keep your clients in compliance, ensure that they don't fail an audit, and it will help you save time and resources. If you have any further questions about PlanDoc Builder, please review that knowledge base and the different help resources in that download section. And also contact our partner support team with their phone number and email. If you need help generating documents, looking at those amendments, they are there for you during the regular business hours. That is all I have for you today. I want to thank you so much for investing in PlanDoc Builder, and good luck with using PlanDoc Builder to create those plan documents and SPDs. And thanks again.